Welcome to the SunDried Tomatoes Podcast. I am your host and creator, Anthony Yotso. If you are watching on YouTube, you can find the audio-only version of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Please follow, download, and subscribe where applicable. For those listening to the audio version, I do have the video version on the SunDried Tomatoes YouTube channel. Please subscribe there as well and check out all the other shows that I have that will feature sports, brewing, music, some food things. I got my show Random Reactions, which is also on IGTV, some other videos on the NFL draft and European football or soccer for those in the United States. Also a couple of new series. Legends of the Diamond came out mostly in June, where I talk about some of the greatest ball players of all time that weren't allowed to play in the MLB from the late 1800s to the early mid 1900s periods. I also have a show, Brewing the Facts, where I show you my process of homebrewing a raspberry jalapeno wheat ale and also talk about some interesting facts, such as brewing in medieval times and the origins of beer pong. The first episode of Brewing the Facts came out on July 19th, and the rest of the season will be out in the first 3 Mondays in August. You can also follow me on Instagram at eclectic_Yotso. That's ECLECTIC_IOZZO. I will have updates, teasers, short videos to go with all of my YouTube content. Plus, you might get to know me a little bit better. Today, I am joined by family. That's right. My stepbrother, Marc Lopez, is online to talk with me about music, recreational sports, and just to talk about some old times when life consisted of freestyle and chilling and just having a little bit of fun. Of course, hip hop is a big part of the music roots for Marc and myself as well. And he is one I credit as getting me into the genre when I was younger. Marc and I have collaborated on a couple of tracks, some for fun that I never really released, and some that were actually released. One on an album of mine, the second album I came out with, Adventurous, which listeners can buy on bandcamp.com. Just search Super Garlic versus Funky Onion. I will include the link in the YouTube and podcast description for those interested, as well as the link to March of the Damned, which Marc did an amazing job on. You should definitely check out those lyrics. Marc has also made tracks with many others, including his friends Nate Dogg and Danny, and has even performed at a poetry slam at the Green Mill. You can check out some of Marc's stuff actually on SoundCloud. He goes by the name of Mel1, that is MAL-ONE. We'll be talking about both musical influences, favorites, and just writing some tracks, performing, collaborating, all those types of things with music. And some of those old stories of dank, dark basements with beats and rhymes. Marc is also into recreational sports, which I found pretty cool. They could be very competitive depending on the league or tournament, but most of it is just to have fun, have a good time, things like that, meet some people. He's competed in sports like beach volleyball, indoor volleyball, softball, and kickball. He's actually been on a few beach volleyball teams that have won championships, earning some free parties at whatever sponsor bar was for the team, and that's pretty cool. He's in Chicago, so he's played for teams sponsored by bars like Trace on Clark Street. You got McGee's Tavern and Grill and the Pony Inn as well. Venues are usually nearby parks, or North Avenue Beach for beach volleyball, which is pretty cool. We will discuss some of the attractions to recreational sports for adults and the communities that can be formed later in the podcast. Of course, again, the point of these leagues is to have fun, meet people, and just have a good time, which I'm all about. And I know Marc's all about as well. He plays in leagues associated with S3 or simply social sports. So without further ado, I bring you the greatest MC that has ever come out of Chris's basement. Inside joke there, a fantastic lyricist and performer, a future recreational sports legend in Chicago. My brother, Mr. Marc Lopez. What is going on, man? How's life treating you these days?
What up, broski? Life is treating me pretty well, considering we're in this pandemic, but hopefully it's behind us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just chilling, working, doing my thing, and having fun, living life.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you there, man. The pandemic's been a definitely a pain to go through. Obviously all the outside stuff and loss of life is bad, but just, having the work stuff and difficulty to do social things. I'm guessing with you at recreational sports, that's like a whole thing. A lot of that stuff I'm sure got shut down, which is a bummer. Like we all lost like a year of like just doing normal things.
Yeah, actually, like the indoor stuff had to get shut down for sure, for obvious reasons. Once it got warm out, we were able to be outside at least and create some distance and still wear masks. We were able to do that and somewhat be social and play sports and kind of, do stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear you there, man. Just to get out of the house is nice. I'm being fully vaccinated now. I like went to my first bar the other day and just with some friends hung out, like just chilled. Like it was almost surreal. It's like, oh my God, I'm at a bar. Like,
you kind of forget how to be social.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So starting off here, because music is one of the early memories of hanging out with you. Yeah, obviously, your father Gene, my mother Diane got together, and I think I was 7th grade, 8th grade, somewhere in there. I was probably the annoying, like, new little brother, but after a while, I think we hung out, especially those times in Bourbonnais, which I'm sure you remember those crazy times.
Yeah, I think we bonded pretty well out there in the Belize.
Yeah. I feel, to be honest, I feel a good place to start is some of those early rhyme sessions in Chris's basement, because that was kind of, I feel like when they came back from Bourbonnais, our parents, I was younger, so I wasn't necessarily at like every hangout like you guys were, but obviously as I got to high school, I was there a lot more. You, Michael, our brother Michael, and then Ralph, Chris, Fagan, all those guys. So I feel like there was some crazy times. You guys were coming up with some crazy rhymes. There's a lot of cool conversations, and we'd listen to music too and chill when you guys weren't doing stuff, or my brother wasn't doing some sort of crazy 9 Inch Nails bridge, but I have to say, like, I think the audience would find some of this stuff kind of hilarious. Like just the fact of like just a bunch of guys together in a basement listening to some beats and just coming up with rhymes and just kind of chilling and like kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like a lot of it was just like more than a hobby. It was like we're all there in this basement having a good time, but at the same time we're just kind of letting loose. Like a lot of your guys' lyrics would get funny. You'd rip on people, but sometimes you'd come in with some verses that was probably just some crap that happened to you that week you wanted to get off your chest. So what are some of your favorite parts of that, just being able to be in that atmosphere?
Well, like, it originated, like, it must have been like in 98. Well, we went to Bourbonnais in 98 for a couple of years, right? So when I got back in 2000, Fagan and Chris, they were already into underground hip hop and all that. And I was barely into it. I was still in the mainstream, Tribe and all that. Was still into hip hop, but not that deep, and was unfamiliar with this independence music that was going out there.
Yeah.
And once I got back chilling with them, they turned me on with all these like groups from Minnesota and whatnot, up mostly in the Midwest. Some underground hip hop. Went to a show. That's really what sprung me into hip hop and getting into it and influenced me big time. That's when I really got my focus into hip hop. But anyways, like Chris's basement was a haven of like hangouts and just crazy stuff going on and memories out there. I mean, that'll be never forgotten, even though how much booze we drank or whatnot. We were teenagers, we did what teenagers did. We were trying to find ourselves at the same time, creating memories, doing dumb stuff, rhyming and all that. I mean, we'd have like rhyme sessions. I still have like cassette tapes, like, I don't know, like 15 recording sessions of us, like just shooting the shit and rhyming and freestyling a lot, and even battling each other, just, having fun and doing what guys do. And, we're underage at the time, but we figured ways to get 40s and booze, and we still drank under the influence. But, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has experienced that. I'm not sure. Anyways, but, we did what we did, and it created a lot of, like, I don't know, drama But anyways, to get off the topic, we had a lot of memories. I can't think of any like ones right now at the moment, but we had a lot of memories, a lot of good times, and freestyling during that time kind of like prepped me of writing music and getting down to recording in the future, and just following up with that as a hobby, even a dream. I still to this day would love to make music and make it a living as well, because that's also a passion. Like I said, I got to get my equipment together and get back down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where I feel when you're making music and you're into it, like it's almost like it's your outlet. It's one of your outlets. Besides being a hobby, it's like something that you could kind of let loose and just kind of be for once, as kind of be yourself and just go out there. But when you think about just the kind of journey that you have to take when you're younger and you're doing stuff, and then like maybe people around you drop out of it, or they just aren't into it as much, and then you find like, oh, I'm one of the only people in this group now I got to find other people and all that. Like there's such a crazy journey of like growing up, and like if you still want to get into music, it gets harder. You have to have money for equipment, all that stuff, and we could actually get into that a little bit more. But first, I just want to talk about, even just getting into it is something. Hip hop is one of the things that is huge in all of our music. And when you think back of like how you really got into hip hop, like talk about who got you into the genre, and like what made you like it, and what made you want to actually go out, write a couple of tracks, and try to perform it.
Well, like I said, when I got back in 2000, my buddies were really deep into it. And after my first show, which was at the Metro, we saw a lot of groups under the label Rhymesayers at the time, and still is, from Minnesota. And there was a lot of lyricists there, Idea, Slug from Atmosphere, and others, including people from the label Ansicon, which I was really big on, Dose One, Alias, Soul, Pedestrian, and lots of others. That I guess you can label art, hip hop. I don't know. A lot of people call it nerd rap, whatever. I was really into it. It was different. It talked about regular stuff that you can adapt to and relate to, other than making money and being in gangs and shooting each other, and the mainstream type of topics that rap was really talking about. It was refreshing. It was different. And it seemed like something that I can actually do. I mean, I kind of like, I was like in awe at first, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, maybe it's something I can do, just the thought of coming up with a song, the process of writing a song, sharpening your craft of rhyming and freestyling is another thing that's challenging. Not everyone can freestyle or do it well. It takes a lot of practice, and you really got to be quick on your feet, your mind, technically, and be creative and whatever. I mean, I honestly, like, I prefer freestyling over writing, because I feel like there's no boundaries when I'm displaying it. Like, I can talk about anything, and I can just keep going, especially over a really dope beat. And if it transitions to another dope beat, like, I can just keep going and going, and have a good time. It's just like I get this high off of it without being under the influence of any drugs. Just to know that I'm like creating all these rhymes in my head, and the way it sounds, when it's coming out, it's just like, it's a high for me. I don't know. It's just, it became a passion, and like something that I wanted to really like focus on and try to get good at. And I even went into a battle rap once, which was in Wicker Park. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to jump into like battle raps, okay? Because you really got to talk crap to each other and be crafty, and maybe funny. You got to have these punchlines. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but it's something I threw myself into to see how I do. I mean, I didn't do well, but I mean, I'd probably do it again. And it was an experience, just like my poetry slam. that was an experience. I wanted to expose myself out there and just, experience it. And it was cool. I liked it. And I'll probably do it again too one of these days. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the main question again?
Well, I mean, like, you've definitely been touching on it, but what about earlier? Like when you first got into even like, mainstream stuff, like how did you get into that? Because obviously that's the roots,
I really didn't see myself even getting into hip hop. I was almost anti hip hop rap back in the day, like in my early teens, because I was really into alternative rock, grunge, that kind of thing. And rap wasn't really, my thing. I didn't like draw into it too much. I've heard it. I never really owned any of it. But like I said, like eventually, like as I got older, I heard the mainstream Tribe and Busta Rhymes and Beastie Boys and all this other stuff that took a liking to my ear. And gradually, obviously, I got into it, like started rapping and all that, and going to hip hop shows in the future, doing all that kind of thing, and just getting familiar with the whole independent hip hop culture, man. It's incredible. Like, I even met a couple of these guys that I looked up to. Idea, for one, who unfortunately passed away years back at a young age. Idea, aka Michael Larson, from St. Paul, Minnesota. I want to give a shout out to him. The Rhyme Sayers, man, love to them. I'm a big fan, been following them for years. But Idea was one of the main lyricists that really got me into freestyle and wanted to rap, because he was actually a great battle rapper and freestylist in his own right. So, but yeah, man, like, I don't know. I mean, I love music, and I don't know what I would do without it. It's a big influence in my life. It brings me up when I'm down. It keeps me up when I'm up and happy, and gets me motivated. And I can see myself, still doing what I'm doing as far as writing. If I get into it again, and I probably will, and recording more tracks. Who knows? Maybe I'll be 50 years old dropping my first album finally, a solo one. Who knows? But yeah, I just I like it. It gets me going.
Yeah, we can talk about this later too, because I think I have it, in my sights here. But absolutely, do another album. I would totally help you with that. I've been wanting to do. I like to do collaborations and stuff, man. So I would.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. Like I said, I just been busy with other stuff, and it's kind of just unfortunately veer off the track of my hobbies, my passions, which I should stick to.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us for sure, with life and everything.
Growing up, responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you almost wish as you get older, and it's like, if I had equipment like I had now when I was younger, I might have been doing stuff at a younger age, and then you can spend more time doing it because you don't need to have a job and all that stuff at that point. But you kind of do what you need to do. And being in Minnesota, I just also want to shout out all of the Minnesota, St. Paul, and just any other hip hop guys in the area. I mostly started to do stuff in Madison, Wisconsin, so a shout out to all the Madison, Wisconsin guys as well. That kind of underground, independent community hip hop scene it's really cool. And you were in Chicago, so you kind of got the Chicago version, which I'm sure is even larger than some of the stuff that I was doing in Madison and people I was hanging out with. But these guys are talented. They do things that you wouldn't even expect. Like one of my friends, Jason, who goes by the name of Memory, the MC name, he does like guitar work and stuff, and he literally has like I don't even know if it's a gold or platinum, because he did, like, one of his guitar riffs was used in like some mainstream song, and it's just you don't really get money because that. It's just you get the here's the record because you were part of this, you know what I mean? But that's got to be awesome. You just did this thing. So these guys are like super talented, and I'm sure it's like this all around. Like they make some really good stuff, and it's just music is so weird. It's like only a handful can make it. It just depends on if people are feeling you, but at the same time, exposure you get, and exposure is kind of ruled by money. So that's just it kind of makes it difficult. But I feel like everybody keeps each other in check, and they keep going, with the craft, even if they have to do other things like, the fact that they could just do community festivals at the drop of a hat. And, this goes for even like producers and DJ guys that help with that. If you're going to be spinning the ones and twos, like that's also a lot of hard work. So, shout out to all those guys for sure. When you talked about, one thing I found interesting you were talking about is the writing. You talked about how you like the freestyling more because you could kind of be, more in the moment. You're not at the boundary of your song or your verse or whatever. You could just kind of go. Freestyling is something that I never necessarily did, but it is a way that I write. Like I'll have a beat and I'll just kind of come up with stuff in my head while I'm listening to it. And then I'll be like, okay, like I like how this is going. And sometimes I'll just like come out of nowhere with like five different lines or like, a whole verse or whatever. And then, I'll go back in and I'll tweak it, for writing just to make it like flow better. So I feel like you just learning the technique of just doing, even if you're not that good, is important, because I don't know, trying to just write like out like a poem or something, it doesn't work, because you really need to be in the music and the beat itself and the cadence, and just like the energy that you're bringing. And you got to worry about breaks and all that kind of stuff too. But for me, I started writing when I was in 6th grade, but even then it was just like, I'd spit something out and then just like write it on a piece of paper, like, it wasn't like I was like actually thinking of writing every word. It was kind of like almost like a freestyle write, maybe is what you can call it, like, and, I did random stuff, but, like what high school is when I really started to get into really trying to do lyrics and stuff. And that's when, I would use existing beats that you could get just to screw around with, and then, and then I think when I started like showing you some beats, that's in college. That's when I got a hold of GarageBand for the first time. It was like just after college, essentially. I started to make beats, and over time, obviously, I use Logic Pro and other programs now that have more that you can do. But I really got into just creating like the track, and then like so it's like very track forward, and then I bring my vocals in and my lyrics in, and that's when we really messed around. Was Rolling Logs and Misfortune off of Adventurous, if you guys want to listen. And of course, March of the Damned was one. And then we did great like Hanging Out, where you just kind of freestyled on a verse, and it was just I've messed with it, and then yeah. I actually added to that recently just because I was messing around with like a new guitar sound, and it actually sounds pretty good. I was like, oh man, it got me into wanting to do stuff with you. But obviously you've worked with people and collaborated with people other than me. So what about that journey of like you meet some people and they're in a similar thing, and then you do a poetry slam, maybe you're like, hey, like let's do a track together, and you did several with a couple of your friends. So how was that like, being in that process? Were you feeling like, oh man, like I'm actually doing this finally, like I'm making something?
Yeah, first off, I just wanted to like brush up on your said about writing. Essentially writing is kind of like freestyle, actually. Like freestyle is writing essentially, because I mean, if it's coming off the head and you're writing it down instead of thinking about it, then yeah. But yeah, in any case, but like I guess I left out a little piece that like me and my buddy Fagan, we probably did this way before. Like I'm thinking like maybe like 6th, 7th grade.
Oh, nice.
School. We would just like record off like a boom box. Like like do it that way. We would record songs and we would write songs about people, and just like do like a kind of a rap song. I mean, it was horrible at best, but like I think that was probably the makings of writing and getting into like rapping without us really knowing about it. But like,
oh yeah, remember Stupid People? We came up with that one. Stupid people.
I didn't remember that.
We were talking about what was
we,
that rest? Was the wrestler like Gangrene or something? Or
I forgot about that. Actually.
yeah. Yeah, of course, a lot many years of parties will make us forget some things.
Yeah, but like going back to like me and my buddy Fagan, we were talking about like just people that would annoy us in school, like just classmates and stuff like that, and it'd be hilarious. Or we just talk about our day, like there wouldn't even be music. We'd just be like, shooting the shit and just talking about what happened in school and just random stuff because we were bored. It was a recording session. It was Mark and Mike's recording session. That's how it was.
That's awesome.
It was pretty lame, but we're kids, we get to. But to go off your question of collaboration, not everyone can collab with another person. You really got to click. You really kind of got to team up and kind of, compromise with each other, because if you find someone that is like more alpha with the whole thing and just want to take over the whole thing, like this doesn't sound right, and kind of like manage you how you should do it, then it might not work out. My experiences, I've gone through that. I've collaborated with people, and some of the tracks were good and some of the tracks were still good, but the process was a little bumpy because, like I said, they would like to take the lead instead of compromising and try to work it out. And then there's people that it works well together. My buddies, like, it's they came out pretty cool. It was just something we experimented on. There was a point where it's like, wow, yeah, I guess, I'm doing something that people who I look up to in the hip hop industry have been doing, and just learning the craft of it, the process, and what it takes to get it done. It was cool. It was a learning process, I would say. Not something everyone would be going through. Not everyone's a rapper, and not everyone is a hip hop and freestyling and whatnot. It's just a few certain people. And when I knew how to freestyle and was making rap songs, I felt kind of special, like I had a special power, like which is, you kind of have a skill, actually. It's a skill you have that you crafted and not everyone else has. Some people do, and you can relate to them and talk about, music with them and just ideas, and, meet friends, make music. So it's a cool thing. Some people stumble upon producers and rappers, and they hook up and they make music together. I wasn't one of those people. I met a few producers, but none that we actually clicked and could have just, formed a duo and just, pumped out some tracks like I would want it to be. But it's just cool. Collaborating is cool. It's totally different from doing your own thing, obviously. So it's a different world.
Yeah, it is. And you do have to think about it. And you can bring people onto your project and say, this is the kind of what it is, but you can have freedom to do it. And at the same time, you could, have other people have you join their project and things like that. But then when you're doing like a group dynamic where you're literally two people trying to come up with like a whole EP or an album, that obviously could get difficult. You got to have the process of, this is the vision of it. Here's what we're doing. Are you on the same page? Like, does it mesh well together? Who gets the longer verse on this song, or who gets multiple verses on this track? And do we bring in other people? Like there's so many little things I don't think people understand about that process. It's very difficult. I've tried. I mean, like, I've collaborated with people where I thought it was really good, but they were not necessarily like ready to keep doing stuff. It's like, trying to like, shake them like, hey, like this stuff's really good. We should put out an EP or like an album together. And, they kind of flake out or get, I don't know, lazy or just don't care about music as much, and they do other things. And that stuff could be frustrating too, and then there's a couple people I did beats with, and like I'll send a beat, and then like they get back to me, and I'm just like, oh, this does not sound that good, like, and then you got to deal with that. You don't really want to tell somebody that they don't sound good. It's like you don't want that kind of drama. And then there were people I sent beats to, and they brought me back they gave me back something, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. Send me your vocals, and I'll like mix it with the track better. Like, I'm good at that. And they would have producers that they work with predominantly, and they'd say, no, my guy's got it. And that stuff would annoy me, because I don't care how good your other producer friend is. He didn't make this beat. I did. I have the original beat. So he's never going to make it sound well together, like if I think that your levels are off, and unless I worked with them, or unless the beat itself was completely finished. But a lot of times the beat isn't finished. It's like when I sent you March of the Dam, the beat was pretty much finished. So the guy that recorded the vocals with you, he did a really nice job in making it, good. And I know you've worked with him before, but like that
was my buddy Brandon Ozzie. Shout out to him. He's out in Vegas. He did record a couple of tracks of mine, which came out really well. He actually went to school for sound engineering and stuff like that, so he knows some stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, that's cool. And I didn't have to do pretty much anything when I when you sent me the thing, and then I put it up. But like, he just did a good job. But not everybody is like that. It's good that he had the sound engineering thing for sure. But a lot of these producers definitely have it, or a lot of experience. But if they're using like Reason or something, and I use Logic, you're going to have problems there as well. So it's like, because there's there's just a lot of things you got to deal with: the size of it, the bit rate, all that stuff. So those things could get kind of frustrating with collaborations, especially if you're just like, I really want to do this, and like 10 months go by and no one's even done anything with what you've done.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'm probably actually one of those people, because I have procrastinated on like making tracks or finishing them, and the thing is, I just like right now I got to get a new computer. The one I have now, my laptop's just like slow and old, and like I probably want to clean that out and just use it specifically just for making music.
Yeah.
And maybe try to run it faster and just use my new laptop for computer purposes. But yeah, I've been fiddling around, and I just kind of like gave up on it. Just kind of like let it sit there. I don't know, just minor stuff. But yeah, being lazy is a big thing. I need to like get back into it for sure.
Well, one thing that'll probably make you excited is that at some point in the next year, maybe year and a half, we hope to have a house that we buy. So at that point, I would set up my own studio in it and have a proper studio for once. Which, I've done a lot of things to make temporary studios or work my rent space or anything like that. But, to have my own place, like house, I would be able to like build things and change things. Like, I could put in a recording booth, I could like soundproof a room. I could like, make sure that there's the reverb is good and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that. So once I get that going, I'll be like, Mark, you got to come up here. Let's record some tracks, man. Like, just spend a weekend just doing some stuff.
I still want to see what Minnesota's about. I've always wanted to visit that place.
Yeah,
considering a lot of the rappers that I listen to and artists that originate from there. So.
Yeah. So you talked about the poetry slam, and I mentioned it for you too at the Green Mill. You said you took third out of 6 people once, which has to be pretty cool because that was the first time you did it. But what was that like? Kind of performing in front of people like that. And you said there was a live band too. That had to be pretty cool.
Yeah. So the Green Mill Sundays, they have poetry slams at like 9 p.m. or whatnot. My buddy Nate Dogg talked to me about it. Said if we wanted to do it. Because he was going to do it, and I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I was hesitant at first, but thought, why not, give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I get booed off or something.
Yeah.
But
The
like,
guy
yeah,
comes with the cane, you know.
yeah, I get the hook. I get the hook of the Apollo, and I get dragged away or something. But but like, yeah, we did it. Like, you know, had a few beers, just, you know, relaxed, and was just debating what I was gonna perform. And I actually did a verse from a track that I had recorded with my buddy Danny, called "Check the Book, We're All Free." But anyways, it should be on my SoundCloud. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is, and people should check it out. It's pretty cool.
But I used those lyrics, and like, because it was just in my head, and it was just kind of, you know, spare of the moment type thing. And yeah, I was nervous. You know, I was thinking about it. I also had a book that I had some lyrics written into it. I was debating if I was going to use that or what I already had memorized in my head for quite some time. So, I think. I think I went first before my buddy did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was the first person to go up, but I went before him, and they called my name, you know, and I was like, oh, my heart dropped. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, here we go, let's do it. And I pumped myself up, and I walked up to the stage, and the host was like, hey, you want, we got the guy with a stand-up bass and a guy with drums. Do you want some background music? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, opposed to doing a cappella, which is, you know, rhyming or whatever, or any poetry without background sounds or music.
Yeah.
So, so they were just, you know, creative beat. They did a little study. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And I just, you know, then I went and I started, you know. Messed up, corrupt ass government, keep bent out of shape, make us tape our mouth shut and do what we're supposed to do with their consent. This world is fake. Make all your dreams and free will disintegrate, metal plate to the heads of Vietnam vets from the wars before. What was it good for? Risking your life for a country that gives two shits that like kiss our grits and lick our pits. Providing for non-U.S. citizens who we have problems of our own that never end. It's mandatory to blend with the narcs, preventing anarchies to start up in parks. Sparking fireworks for a non-existing Independence Day. Tremendous ways I come up with to brainwash us. I came to fuss about how we must act like zombies. Keep smiling, we're only Abercrombie. So poisonous balonies, the commies, take the little kids from their mommies. Uh-oh, I think they're on them. But I thought we were all free. And then the hook's like, check the book because I think we were all free. My buddy did the hook on that.
Yeah.
So I did that, and like, you know, I was just like, thank you. And people clapped, and it was over. And that was it. I back down, and I was like, whew, it was a relief. I got it out, and I felt accomplished and proud. And then my buddy Nate, he went on, he did his thing, and then, and then at the end he's like, yeah, vote for my buddy Mark. You know, he was trying to give me props, and like when he was also you know, trying to win it too, but it was funny. So yeah, I ended up in third place. I remember hearing other people, but some were pretty good, some were okay. But for a first time, third place isn't bad. So yeah, it was fun. It was cool.
Yeah, it had to be cool too to have people clap as well instead of boo.
Yeah, and I had a couple friends, you know, come and watch too. I should have told more people and be like, hey, but it was kind of spare of the moment. I would have had a few family members maybe come and check it out. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, like I've done. I never got to do, like, that's cool that you did the poetry slam thing, like at a venue type place, but I mostly did house type shows and performed a couple of tracks. You know, it's in Madison, it's very hard to get any kind of a live show. There's a couple of open mics, but it just wouldn't have meshed with the equipment that I had. Like I kind of had to run my own thing because I didn't I had a hodgepodge of equipment. You know, I only had so much money, so it was like a piece here, a piece there, a couple of chords together. Like it looked ridiculous, the setup, but it worked. You know, but it would have been hard to just go to a stage monitor when you know, I wasn't used to that type of thing in the beginning. But so I did like house show stuff where I could just set up my own thing. You know, but it was usually just like a couple of things here, like a couple of tracks. The one time I tried to do a full show. Of course, the cops were called and like people were being, you know, dicks at the house. So it's just, you know, I wasn't able to finish the show, unfortunately. I still think back to that time, like, man, I prepared for like months for that thing. You know, it's kind of a bummer, but it's definitely cool to kind of perform and just have people there. Even if it's just a couple of people, you kind of like people digging your track is cool. And my whole basement was filled with people. So I was just like, wow, there's like a whole basement kind of digging what I'm doing here. That's kind of cool. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I know you, besides doing the poetry slam, you also worked at, Starbucks, and you had some friends from there, and that's when you were going down to the Old Town pub and do freestyle sessions and messed around with the music in their live area, because you said you knew the bartender, you were telling me. So that had to be pretty cool. Like, talk about that, because those little things I feel like are things that you cherish, because it was a time when you just went there and just had fun, and you were still doing music even when you were hanging out with a bunch of people that maybe didn't collaborate with you and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. A buddy of ours that we worked with at Starbucks, he knew the bartender. I think the bartender was named Sam or something like that. I don't even know if this place is still open, if he's still there. Haven't been there in decades. But yeah, it was our little getaway. Like, a few of us, friends of us, coworkers at Starbucks, we'd go like after work, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night, and go up there, meet, and have some drinks, discounted drinks. It was awesome. We had cheap drinks and music, live music in the background there. It was a small place, but it was cool. We were young, just, probably barely turned 21 or whatnot. Just,
Yeah,
getting into legalized drinking and whatnot. And it was cool. Something I definitely cherished, and it's still in my memories, and had good times. And like you said, people would just start freestyle sessions. Like, I would jump on the mic, and there'd be a guy on the drums just like creating a beat. And there's something about live drums that I like, that makes me want to start freestyling. I mean, if there's something that I'm liking and gets going, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me drop some verses on that or something. And maybe there was a guy on a guitar, and I think there was a keyboard as well. So like, we'd all like just switch off and just like mess around, freestyle, and just improvise and different stuff. And I'm sure the random customers there didn't mind it much, and probably was entertained too.
Yeah.
But we were all having a good time, just drinking and just having drunken freestyles and being creative and having a good time with some friends. It was a blast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like back in Madison when I first started getting into stuff, there was a lot of jam sessions, and then my friend Jerry, who I collaborated with recently for an album that we did, Maturity in the Eighth Dimension, also on Bandcamp under my other band name, Doct'Aglio. We actually got together, and I'll kind of go through that in a second here. But you told me that when you talk about kind of the old times, and especially the old basement crew, so to speak, that you were one of the ones that kind of kept with hip hop, where other people, I know Chris still makes like music and beats and stuff, but like, I don't know like how much he's into things, and like if he has time to do other things or anything like that. But, you were kind of the ones that kind of kept at it like throughout the years. And even now, after a little bit of a, life hiatus or whatever, like you want to get back into music. But I feel like that is the challenge, because I found this too, like you're going through, you feel like I even said this before, you feel like you're kind of the only one as people drop out, and then it gets really tough because now you're like trying to do everything by yourself, and there's a different atmosphere. Besides, like normally there's kind of a community, especially with like hip hop and underground hip hop, and it's like if you don't have people around you helping, sometimes you like lose energy, like you lose a little bit of motivation, or maybe even like I know for myself, sometimes I would just procrastinate on certain things just because it was like I was the only one and nobody was there like saying like, hey, like let's do this. I didn't have that kind of second voice. So then, when I was able to collaborate with people, like when we made some tracks together, that was really fun. And then when my downstairs neighbor, Jerry, known as Dr. J, a real doctor of science, he played guitar and he did kind of lyric stuff too. And he kind of brought like a kind of an indie rock kind of a vibe as well, which I liked, because I know for you as well, like you said, before hip hop, you were in the grunge, alternative rock. So you like a lot of different styles like I do. I like a lot of stuff, a lot of different genres. Pretty much anything that I think sounds good and isn't like fake, I like. And that's kind of what we did. We kind of incorporated a lot of things, and it made the project different. He did some guitar riffs, he did some back vocals, he did some lyrics himself, and led some songs, and it was really fun, I feel. And again, I want to call out to Dr. J, because he's great. He actually just moved to Minnesota, so I'm excited. We're definitely going to be doing some collaborations again soon here. But he, our band name Doct'Aglio, it's spelled DOCT''AGLIO, and you can look that up on Bandcamp and check out our album, because I don't know, I feel like you guys might enjoy it. It's a little experimental. It's got some hip hop roots, some indie rock roots, electronica, downbeat type stuff. It's pretty cool. But again, like I said, it made the direction a lot better to do stuff. It just made it made the experience of making the thing better too, because you're making it for yourself, but then now you have this other person too, and now like you can share stuff, and I could be like, hey, check this out, what do you think, does this sound good? Oh yeah, that sounds really good, man, like it's time to put it out. Like it's good to have that too, because I'm like a perfectionist, and if no one's there to tell me that no, this is ready to go, I'm gonna like literally spend years trying to like perfect the thing, and it's never gonna come out. So it's just like, it's like a whole thing. But for you, like is it something similar, especially when it was clear that as you're going up, that you needed to kind of get involved with other people, because some of the old guys that you were doing stuff with had other things in their lives and they weren't doing it as much? And did that make it tough for you too, to kind of stay in everything?
It was a little challenge, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, like you said, I was kind of the only one that really kept pursuing hip hop or making music altogether as we grew up. And my other friends just kind of just grew up like myself and just had to live life, and it kind of withered away for me. It stuck with me. I know that, like, I always had a passion and love for it, and it was a little hard because it wasn't like, oh man, want to freestyle today, or let's mess around with some music. It wasn't there anymore. People moved. I moved away from Bridgeport. I moved up north. So I wasn't close to Chris, and he was doing his own thing. And, Fagan moved to Asia, Ralph's in the burbs. So a lot of people were gone. So yeah, I was kind of on my own thing. And Starbucks, which is funny, like that's where I ran into Brandon. He went to Columbia College down the street, downtown there. And he was going to school for sound engineering and all that. And he learned that I was into like, making music and freestyling, and I rapped and stuff. So we kind of just like clicked and hung out. And he would record stuff from me. And there was another guy, Jacob, who was into stuff, hip hop. He was from Boston, I think. And he had his own little gig, like him. He was a producer, and he had another guy named Quay. I forgot, The Calm Before the Storm, I think is the group. I forgot, it was old stuff. They actually did a show too up in Wicker Park back in the day at this place called The Note, which is not there anymore. The Blue Note or The Note. That was another area we went to during those days, just party down in Wicker Park. It was kind of like it was a mini Sin City. It was crazy, but like, anyways, that place ain't there anymore. But we went to see their live show. That was cool. So Jacob, he had all these beats. Like, he even threw me some beats he made, and I was like, cool. I would write over it. I still have beats that I don't even know if it's used that I could potentially mess with.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, there was a couple tracks that he gave me, and I formed tracks on, and I went with Brandon to his house. He recorded me, and the first track that I ever recorded was Click Clack. Clickety Clack. I don't know. It wasn't really like a title name, but it was my first track that I just had random verses on, and I took Jacob's beat and I just started recording. Like, I just, I dropped some lyrics over it, and I kind of did like a one take, like I didn't even stop. Like, I kind of just continuously like just went through the whole thing rapping without stopping, taking, just recording different tracks, and the process of it now that I know. But I did it all in one track, the verse and everything, the hook. and it was cool. It came out cool. Like I heard it back. It was just like hearing yourself on the recording. You kind of hear what you sound like. It's a little weird at first, your voice, and you kind of get used to it. And some people are like, "Oh, that's cool," or "That's funny." And you get positive and you get negative reactions, but it didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was I was making music and learning, and this was the first time that I had recorded, not an official song, but yeah, I guess you can say it was a track that I still have. And like, I don't know, it was just the beginning, of a thing that I started and kept doing and wanting to do. It was kind of addicting in a sense. And so I would do that. I'd go up north to his house and record tracks. And every time I had, instrumentals on hand, and would do it that way. But yeah, that's how I did it on my own. I met Nate Dogg. He worked at Starbucks, so I guess I kind of got him into hip hop too. He was a big Beastie Boys fan though, so like we kind of clicked on that, and he started freestyling, and we kind of got him into that. Like he started writing, which he was decent. He actually became decent a lyricist. I don't know if he still does stuff. I think he's messing around with beats, but I don't know. He's up on the northwest corner there in the country.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, just on the border of like Canada and like Seattle or whatever, or Washington.
Yeah, which is tough to live there right now with all those forest fires. Hopefully that stuff clears up soon for sure, because you don't like to see that kind of stuff. So hopefully he's okay with all that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him. Hopefully he didn't get affected and like died or something crazy.
Yeah, let's hope not.
I'm sure he's okay. But anyways, like he was one of the guys I had collabed with, and kind of just we all learned and kind of grew together, just, making music. And he was always a guy that I kind of depend on to make music with. He was always down too, and I'd go to his house and we'd write stuff and try. And he got into recording a little bit and learned it. And did what the best we could. I mean, the quality wasn't that great, but we still got it done, and we did it that way. So yeah, it was a little struggle being on your own, but at the same time, kind of find yourself, you kind of doing your own thing. And for that, I met other people and to do stuff with, and it didn't stop me from progressing my craft and just sticking through it. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I've gone through stages myself where like when I moved here to Minnesota, like there was a time when I was still kind of messing around making beats, but I just didn't like sit down and do things as much. And I finished my other album, the Doct'Aglio album. And it was just kind of like I fell off for like a year or two, is what I was working on before. And I've picked it up recently, and I'm sure that I'll get even more back. I'll definitely be doing more and more, especially when we get our own house and stuff. But, life happens, obviously we've said this. So some people that were doing things like are like, I'm not that into it. And I feel like the idea of like making a living on music, or just, that kind of a dream, or at the same time, just because it's such an outlet. Like for me, it's almost like a therapy sometimes, music. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like that's what pushes me to keep going. I'm guessing you're similar with that. Some people just, they don't have that. Maybe something else is that outlet for them. Maybe they just were just never really that into it, and they did it for fun, and they realized if I'm going to do my other job or something, I shouldn't do this, which, you almost wish they still did, but that's the way things go. But, all those different things happen, and you keep going. But, for me, continuing to do music is something that's probably going to be very important till I die, because it's just like there are times when there's so much other outside noise. There's my job, there's all the politics stuff and people being mean to each other and all that kind of stuff. We got to deal with the environment now. Like there's just always some crazy things around us. To keep my sanity, I need to like make music, even if it's just instrumentals. Like the instrumental itself is an outlet for me. So there's a lot of times I'll make tracks specifically for me to just jam out on my MIDI keyboard and just do like crazy solos that I'll never like really send out to anyone. Just like the whole purpose of the track is for me to just go nuts. And I'll do that with lyrics too and stuff sometimes. So music is something that's always going to be there. So, so for you, you should totally start collabing because I'm down. Like, I'm ready to go nuts. I'm ready to make EPs, albums, like even if it's just one-off tracks, like whatever, man. Like, I'll send you some beats. We could work on stuff now that the pandemic is kind of winding down. Hopefully, we could do some face-to-face stuff in the future. Like so for sure, like, if you're serious about getting back into it, man, like I'm ready to go. And for the people listening, like, we're not going to make garbage. Like, I'm not saying we're like amazing, legendary people, like making music, but we take it seriously and have fun with it. And I think you guys will enjoy it,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm totally down. I'm always down. I kind of need a fire lit on my ass to get me motivated to get back into it. I know it's there, and I know I'll always get back into it. I just kind of gotta push myself amongst other things that's going on in my life. But yeah, I can't let it hold me down. It makes me happy. It's probably that's why I felt like something's missing in my life. Like, I don't know. It's weird, but it is therapeutic for sure. Like you said, for me, as you said, for yourself as well. And I feel like maybe, I got a lot to talk about. It's been a while. Like, I haven't dropped a track since, gosh, probably like 2012 or 13.
Yeah.
That was probably my last track that I did with from the beat of yours, the March of the Damned, I think.
Yeah. Which is also on your SoundCloud as well.
This is the March of the Damned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it was good. It was fun to make that, and yeah, man, we gotta collab for sure. I'm down.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll have to. We'll keep in touch with that stuff. After the podcast, we could talk about that even more if you want to. But I do want to also talk about other things. Like, music is cool, and but we all have other hobbies, other likes. I know for me, especially, with this podcast and channel, sports is something that's kind of a key thing. It's also a part of my career at the moment, as I'm a sports editor. But like, when I'm, looking at music is one of the things. I also like home brewing, but sports again is one of the main things. And I know you are also involved in recreational sports lately, kind of getting involved with that, playing in leagues in Chicago for Simply Social Sports. And to me, sports is important. Like, I love watching games. I just got into European soccer more, European football. I do fantasy football stuff for the NFL. I love baseball, go White Sox,
Yeah. I'm actually going on a game Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice. I haven't been to a baseball game in years.
Yeah.
Literally.
Hopefully this last losing streak, as we're recording this, the Sox just went through a losing streak that they finally snapped recently. But like, hopefully they're going to go on a winning streak here, and you could be a good luck charm maybe. But
yeah, I always seem to go to when they play the Twins. I don't know why. But yeah, hopefully we beat them. We have been on fire. We have been doing pretty well. So,
as the listeners are listening to this, hilariously, I got friends coming in from Chicago, and from the date you guys are first listening to this, next couple weeks, I'm going to the Target field for White Sox at Minnesota Twins. So I'm also going to a Sox Twins game.
Cheers to that. Having a little local Daisy Cutter Pale Ale.
Oh, nice. I'll have to choose you too.
Some Half Acre Chicago local beer.
So cheers to you as well. I am sipping on a homebrew that I made, my Belgian Wit, which anyone that subscribed to my channel has listened to stuff before. I've talked about this beer. It's a wheat beer essentially with some chamomile and some cinnamon. It's it's definitely refreshing, and you get a lot of that banana flavor from the yeast. So and clove and stuff. So I like this beer a lot. It's probably one of my. I really like my porter too, but this is probably one of the best ones I've made so far. So cheers, man. So yeah, so let's talk about the sports you play. Obviously, beach volleyball, indoor volleyball, softball, kickball thing is what you told me you were doing. So, what drew you to try and join the leagues itself? And what keeps you coming back?
Well, when I first moved up north from Bridgeport was probably back in 2007. So yeah, I've been up on the north side for quite some time. So I was kind of on my own, and I wanted to meet some people. That was a good way to meet people. Which actually, what I stumbled across I used to do this thing called Meetup. I don't know if you've heard of it, meetup.com. You go online and you kind of join different groups to meet new people.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on your interest, there's, groups about poetry, groups about this and that, and whatever hobbies you like or whatever. You can join it, meet people at certain days, and, it's a good way to meet people. Anyways, I met this guy off of this dive bar group in Chicago. We'd go around Chicago every Thursdays and go around the city looking for dive bars. I've experienced a lot of bars I have never known, which was kind of cool. Some bars were cool, and some bars were crap. And it was fun. It was something to do. But I met this guy Kevin. He was already into S3, and he was looking for another player to join his softball team on Sundays. This was about 2010. So that's when I first got into S3, the Sports Social League. And it was the best season that I ever done in my life. My teammates were cool as hell. We always threw house parties and, hung out a lot, clicked together and had fun. I had a blast. I met a lot of people. I made a lot of friends through S3. And so I did that. And I got hooked. I just started joining other leagues after that, because it was just more about having fun, meeting new people, maybe meeting your future significant other or whatnot, or just having a good time, have something to do, be active and social at the same time, which I kind of liked. And they would have these sponsor bars after the games that we'd all go to, and the bars would have discounts, free pitchers, maybe 2 or 3 pitchers for the team.
Yeah.
And we just play flippy cup, bear pong, and socialize, and just have a blast. The Sunday fun day. And I liked it. So there was other stuff to do, like you said, volleyball. I did beach volleyball, indoor volleyball, kickball. What else have I done? I think that's it. In another league, I've done bags, but that was like a winter thing. That was just outside of the league that I'm in now. But what drew me back is just it's so much fun. It's something to do. I know the bracket of age is 21 to 42, so I'm almost there. I was retired for quite some time, maybe a year or whatnot, because I felt maybe I should try something else. Getting older, I don't want to be hanging out with a bunch of little kids, young, 20-year-olds, whatever. But I'm young at heart. I can still hang with the young ones and still have a good time. So it's obviously not an issue. So I still do it. It's something to do. Keeps me busy, keeps me active. And like I said, you always meet a lot of cool people and have fun.
Yeah, for sure. Hilariously, I was just talking with my fiance Alex about finding some stuff here in Minnesota. There's probably no beach volleyball here or anything, but I know they have softball leagues and things like that. Because it's kind of cool. I myself would get fun competitive with it, where I'd want to have fun and win and party and everything too. But I'd probably be all into it. If we won, I'd be dog piling on the pitcher's mound and softball and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's you get those people where they take it too seriously and it kind of kills the whole thing.
Yeah, which is it's a little much. Like when you're trying to I don't know, act like you're like a professional.
No one's perfect, and it is a rec league, and people are not going to always catch the ball, or people are not always going to hit the ball or the way you want it, and it's just all about fun. And some people just take it a little too seriously and kind of kill it, but it's inevitable, and that's what it is. But for the most part, it's always a good time.
Yeah. And now you did talk about too that you could kind of be put on random teams, or if you have some friends that you could kind of set up your own teams as well, or make sure that you're on a similar team. What's that like when you kind of make a community there? Like you have a circle of friends that you met through this, and now you're friends and you hang out and play some sports once in a while.
Yeah. So when you first sign up, there's a friend request option, and you can put all your friends, and the organizer will put you on the same team so that you can play together and try to win, or just hang out, because you want to hang out with your friends. So it's a cool thing that happens. Or you can have the option of just not putting any names and just doing it indie, and you'll be placed on just random people's teams, and you'll probably meet new people that way. But then again, the S3 world is kind of small, so you'll see the familiar faces, and you'll probably see a familiar face again, or even one of your friends without knowing, and be put on a team. So it's kind of cool in that sense, and it's a good time. Like, I like it. I think that's a cool option.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I figured by now, like, you meet a lot of people and you would form a team in some certain sport, but that never occurred to me. Like, it never happened. So there'd be maybe 4 or 5 of us that would be on the same team. But like softball, there's like probably like 10 to 12 people total. So it's like, it's a lot of people to get together to form a team in that sense. Volleyball, you can probably form a team more realistically because it's like 6 people.
Yeah.
So I know about 6 people who probably easily form a team, but we never came across it or never did it. But we always add each other's names, so we end up on the same team anyways.
Yeah. But it also would be cool too to be on a team and then face your friends as well, because you could kind of get like fun competitive with it.
Oh yeah, that's happened so many times. So yeah, you kind of have fun competitive and talk crap to each other, but and then you go to the bar and have a drink together. So it's all good.
Absolutely. So you talked about, you were telling me before that you've actually been on 2 championship teams in beach volleyball, which has to be pretty cool. I have to ask, like, what was that like? Like, were you guys celebrating like you won the Stanley Cup? Like,
I mean, it wasn't that serious, but like, it was good to win, to know that, you won the top of the chain. You're up there. We won a party. So the sponsor bar, wherever we're at, they honor you a party to have, like, for an hour or 2, open bar, maybe free drinks or whatever. So that's cool. A cool thing for that. And just having a title of being a champ. Yeah. And it's even better because we weren't formed as a team. We're all indie. So to win a championship as an indie team is kind of rare.
Yeah, I bet, because even in rec sports, I'm guessing chemistry is a big thing on a thing, especially, volleyball. You got to know where you're hitting the ball, who's good at what, like what position you got to be in,
Yeah, absolutely. You got to, communicate and stuff. So I guess it's just one of those things. I mean, we were friends, and like some of us weren't friends, but like we met new friends, and like we kind of clicked, and we were able to pull off the championship. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I've never done a lot of like rec sports stuff, but I've done things like where it was just us friends playing, random games. It's very rare as we get older. You kind of need the rec leagues because
you did like Little League when you were younger, right?
Yeah, I did that stuff and all that, and play baseball and things like that. But when it comes to like getting older, like college or out of college, like it was just like, hey, we're gonna like get together and do this thing, or we're gonna join this thing, like a little tournament or something. I definitely did darts, like if that counts as a rec sport, but like like bar games. I did those types of things. They even had they actually had a beer pong thing at one thing, and me and a partner, like we took third or something. Like we did pretty good.
Well, I know like they have like skee ball on Thursdays, and that's more of like a social thing. Like if you want to meet people, because you can wear regular clothes. You go to a bar. There's one bar in Wrigley, Sluggers, has
Oh,
skee ball. So like you can do skee ball. And that's
your audio got messed up for a second, dude.
Oh, can you hear me?
It's like sounds like a robot for some reason.
Oh, that's weird. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm turning into a cyborg right now. Maybe that's what the vaccination was.
Yeah. Well, we actually are almost done here, but
I'm not sure why it sounded like
it's probably just an internet thing. That's usually how these things go. When it comes to, you've played in a lot of places and had different sponsor bars. So what are some of your favorite venues and bars in Chicago?
in general, or just the rec thing?
Like for the rec thing, but I mean, if there's some places that,
like I said, the first year that I joined in 2010 was the best time, and probably one of the best bars. Not sure if it was called Kelsey's or something like that, but it was in Lincoln Park. We played at Oz Park, and it was in walking distance, and it was a fairly big place, and we had a good time playing Flippy Golf very long and stuff. Like I go home and the Mondays into work would be horrible, but like it was worth it. I was still young, and I could still pull it through. Can't do that now, but but that was a cool bar. Another legendary bar was Beer on Clark. That was a big one too. That's probably up there, one of my favorites. It was in Wrigleyville, and it was on Clark right there, right off near Roscoe, and it was a split bar, so it was Beer on Clark, and it was two bars into one, and the other side was like a beach or something. I don't know what it was called, I forgot, but it had a beach theme, and you could cross over back and forth. It was pretty roomy, and we had a lot of good times. You could do karaoke there. They had beer pong, the usual games, party games, music, and food and drink specials. That was probably one of my favorite sponsor bars, which is no longer there anymore. Unfortunately, they demolished it with the construction thing they're going through, or I don't know what they're doing, but
I hate when they do that.
People that was going down. Another bar was Augie's, and that was a sponsored bar for the Wrightwood Park, which is right off of Wrightwood around there. Also walking distance, it was a corner neighborhood bar, Augie's, and other than us, it'd just be the regular, punk clientele that'd be hanging in there. Like, we would give them all this business. And the cool thing was, like, in the back of the bar, there was a small beach volleyball court. So after softball, like, we'd go there and get drunk and play some beach volleyball.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
Because it'd be summertime, it'd still be warm. And so that was cool. Actually, cool little spot that I was going to. The other bars, McGee's is a big one too. That's a Sunday Monday bar. I don't know if it replaced that Kelsey's place, but that's located in Webster. Sheffield, is it? And that's always a good time too. McGee's is a place too. A lot of crazy people.
Yeah.
Sundays are nuts, and it gets dangerous.
I think there's pictures of us there one time. There was like a festival over there, right? Like they just sometimes do like a festival on that street, don't they, by McGee's?
It's possible, like the street fests around there, probably. Yeah. It's Lincoln Park, people party up and stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure.
What else is there? Well, we played at Staten Park, which is more south from there. It's more by like Clark and North and Clybourne, excuse me. And there was a bar called Sully's, which was cool too. First stumbled upon that in my fall softball.
Yeah.
League. And met a lot of cool friends. I still talk to them now to this day. But that was also walking distance, and it was on the corner. They would have the second floor just for the S3 people, which was cool, exclusive for us.
Yeah.
Part of there, they had a little rooftop too, so we both there just have good times. Most of the bars, their sponsor bars, was fairly fun. Some were lame as hell. Like, I don't know. For instance, Shenanigans. I call it Shenanigans because, like, I don't know, like the staff is horrible. Like, they're always in a bad mood. Like, there's been experiences. I've gotten kicked out of there for something stupid. They've taken my pizza. you would get free pizza after the games. Maybe like instead of the beer, they would give you like a whole pizza to share with the team, which was cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd have leftover pizza, like whole pizzas that people wouldn't use, and I had one reserved that we take home. And I happened to go in the alleyway and have a little smoke break. And one of the freaking staff members saw us and managed us out. When we tried to get back in, they kicked us out, took my pizza away, and I was like, screw that place. So I'm anti-shenanigans. It wasn't cool anyway. So
Yeah. You're back out of the robotic voice out of nowhere as soon as you said that. Like,
I don't know what happened, man. So weird.
It's like you got taken over by the Daleks for a second. Like, exterminate. Like,
I did. Maybe I was possessed for a moment. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for that. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, like, so obviously, you know, we've talked about music and some recreational sports today, and I feel like we prove with all these different things that we're involved in that we need to have a lot of things to kind of be involved in. For me, recreational sports is cool because you're getting exercise and all that. You're outside, but you're also socializing. I feel like after this pandemic, these things to socialize are going to be huge, and I don't think anyone's going to take them for granted because it's just like things can happen and suddenly you have to be locked down and all that. So it's kind of cool to have those kinds of things to do, and you know, especially as we get older, it's harder to meet new people in normal venues because of just how people are. People become more reserved as they get older. So it's not like in college where you could be out drinking at a bar and some random people are there and somebody says a joke, and then the next thing you know, everybody's drinking together, like 20 people. Like, you know, nowadays people are like reserved. They want to be in their corner. Like, who's this outsider? Who's that outsider? Like, everyone's like in their own little cliques. So that to have things like a rec sports league, that has to be, you know, just a good way to kind of get people to come together and forget about some of the noise outside. And then, you know, I think music is another thing with that, because there is a community in music, and especially if you're collaborating with people, and you could kind of connect with an audience if you get to do live type stuff, or even if you realize people are listening to your tracks online. You know, it's like you're kind of connecting with a group of people. It's almost social in its own way, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, for anyone listening, get involved in music, get involved with rec sports, get involved with anything, man. Like, it's good times. And I'm sure Marc can attest to that. Like, you know, it allows you to be who you are, be yourself, and to just kind of be a part of a community for once.
Absolutely. And I think it made me a better person, a more creative person. Kind of found myself more, know myself more, and what I'm capable of, and just, you know, challenging myself and whatnot. So yeah, it's something I definitely hold close to my heart. I got love for that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, man, it's been really awesome being able to talk with you. Obviously, again, with the pandemic, I haven't been able to make it to Chicago, you know, for a while, and you know, normally we get to hang out and all that and talk, and hopefully things are going to be back to normal soon, and I'll be in Chicago soon, and I'll hit you up and we could hang out, and we definitely should be doing more collaborations, possibly on my YouTube channel. Like, I'm sure people would like that stuff. Like,
whatever, man.
yeah, for sure. Jam in person, hang out, whatever. You know, I'm sure I'll invite you back on the podcast too at some point as well, just because it's fun to talk about things and to just
Sure.
like you said, shoot the shit. So So that's pretty cool. So thanks to everyone who has been listening and supporting the SunDried Tomatoes podcast and YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed and downloaded the podcast, and to those who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. This wouldn't be possible with all of your support, and I really do appreciate it. And thanks again for Marc for joining me. Go check out his music on SoundCloud. And until next time, have a great month, everyone.